Alright, hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be working with lighting, more lighting tutorials for you guys, just to break up the monotony of Kismet all the time. So today I'm going to teach you a couple of ways you can use light functions with dynamic lights. We're going to be working with only point lights, but light functions can be used on dominant directional lights, spotlights, point lights, any kind of light you want. It just has to be dynamic. That's all it really requires. So there's two different environments here, side by side, using a form of light function. This one is, if you look on these walls, there's these caustics, the reflections of the water. That uses a light function. So this light right here, if you hit F4, you go into the source and look at the source material for light function. Go ahead in your content browser. It's this material for caustics. All it is, it's rotators and panners with two different textures added together, and just that's what gets the kind of the water reflection for the light function. So what that does, what light functions are, just overall, it's your ability to use a light to project a texture or a material, I should say. And the material is those, rotating and panning, kind of like, spider web looking kind of things. I don't really describe it, but we see it being projected out. And based on how bright your light is, so right now mine's 0.1, it's subtle, but if we were to make this 10, you'd see that stand out more. Let's see what it looks like at 100. The light. But we made that 0.1 just to make it subtle, maybe 0.2, yeah, 0.15, something in the middle. But we're going to do this from scratch. But the other material function, this is a custom material that I made. It's our second light here. Once again, it's a dynamic light. So what you do, you go into your light function, source material, and this is the material. I'll break down this material as well. It's a very simple material. We take time and we put time into what's called sine. If you're not sure what sine is, it's math. It's basically waves and curves, and the period is just how frequently it's jumping up and down. So that's what you can tell with the flicker. So if I made this 5, it'd be flickering like crazy, or slow like crazy. Actually, yeah. Yeah, okay. Because the higher the period, the longer it takes to, I guess, what's that word? Oscillate back and forth. So if we were to go back into sine, change that to 0.1 to flicker a lot, because it's basically going back and forth like that. But I made it 0.6 because that was a reasonable value. And this right here, this number, the 0.25, that's just how bright the light is. So if I made that 1, the light would be more intense. But we want to go ahead and just make that subtle. I believe that was at 0.25. We multiply those together, and we clamp it just to make sure it doesn't get past any high values. And we plug it into the emissive. And if you notice, right now only the emissive's used, and it's the only one that can be used. In order for a material to be able to be used as a light function is by one of the settings here in the main thing. So if you click on this huge preview material node with diffuse power, all that in it, and in the search bar just type in function. There's an option that says use as light function. If you were to uncheck that, all of these become available to you. You can just plug everything in. But we want to use it as a light function, so you can only use it as an emissive property. So that's the custom light function, and that's why we're seeing it flicker here. And the actual color of the light and the flickering, like you saw in the material, it was white, but whatever color you make the light, that's how it reflects. That's how it projects itself as like an orange color, because it's fire. Same thing with this over here. So if I were to, instead of it being like that light blue, if we make it red or orange or purple, it's going to change accordingly. So let's go ahead and just remove both these lights. We'll make everything from scratch. When you remove all your lights from the scene, it goes to the automatic unlit view, just so you can see. So honestly, the first light we're going to do is going to be our dynamic light. For the first scene, it's going to be the caustics light. So holding down the L key and left click, that creates our point light. And as soon as you make a point light, It brings you from unlit to lit mode, so you can see everything's with your lighting. So let's go ahead and right click on this point light that we created. Go down to convert light, point light movable. Now it becomes a dynamic light. And what we want to do at this point, now that it's a dynamic light, hit F4 where it says function, hit down that blue arrow, select light function, and now we have the ability to do the source material. So with that, let's lock our window here. Let's go into content browser, and I'm going to type in caustics, and there's our material. Select in your content browser, and then under source material, hit that green arrow, and it applies that material. So now we have caustics. Honestly, that's too much intensity, it's too bright, not the right color. So that's where we go ahead and modify some of these properties here. So the first property we're going to mess with is the radius. We want to make it relatively tight and compact. So we're just going to make it about 512, just enough to encompass this area. The next thing we're going to do is the brightness. Let's make that about 0.15, just so it's subtle. Last but not least, we're going to change the color. We're just going to make it a subtle blue, just so it fits in. And there you go. And that's all you really need to do for this dynamic light, for this caustics effect. But we're also going to add a second light to this scene. This one is just going to be a fill light, just to add more color. This one's going to be 0.1. And then the color is also going to be blue, just to give the scene an overall blue color. And there we go. This is just preview, obviously. But we got everything working on this side of things. So let's go ahead and move on over to our second side. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and build lighting, just so the other side's dark, so you don't see the orange right away. So it's just going to be a second. There's not much in this scene to cause lighting to take more than like 30 seconds. So we're just going to let that build. And then from there, we're going to do the second part of lighting, the one with the fire and the kind of the explosions and everything. So it's just going to be a couple seconds here. And if you guys enjoy these lighting tutorials, like I said, I'll try to keep making them. There's a good amount of information on lighting that I could go over. A lot of it's just practice and technique and color theory, knowing how realistic lighting works, how to make exaggerated lighting, all these different kinds of effects. But overall, it's not too difficult, especially over time. Okay, so we have the first lighting pass done, and this is our scene. This is how it looks. So it came out pretty good. But I would think overall we need to increase the brightness of this light, the fill light. So let's make that 0.3. Also, we're going to rebake lighting in a minute, but let's go over here. On this side, we're going to have two lights again. First light is going to be our dynamic light with the material flicker in it. Let this get out of the way. Okay, hopefully UDK does not crash. There we go. So let's right click, convert light, point light movable. Now let's go ahead and add another light function. Now our source material here is going to be that flicker. I name mine flicker. Here it is. Actually, it's down here, mat_flicker. Go ahead and hit the green check. Now we got a huge flickering light. Honestly, we want to go ahead and reduce the radius now. I believe that we're going to do 256. Actually, let's go ahead and make that 384. Light color orange because it's a fire. And then brightness, we're going to go ahead and set that to 3. There we go, and there's our fire flicker. And then last but not least here, let's go ahead convert this light back to a point light. And point lights can't flicker, they can't have any material functions in them like that, or light functions overall. But all we need to do now is just make this 512, just its sort of fill light, and then instead of it being at 3, we'll change this one Give me a much subtle color. It's going to be a point. Whoops, we don't need the color picker yet. We're going to do 0.1 for brightness. And the actual color, let's go ahead and reduce that just a tad bit. Let's actually make that 0.3 just so it's a little brighter. But there we go. There's our second scene. Here's our first scene again. Let's go ahead and bake lighting one last time. It failed to build lighting. Cool. What happened? Try that again. Okay, it just randomly failed. So we're good now. It's going to build one last time. And then we're going to take a peek and or gander at the results, see if that's what we like, and if it's good to go, then the tutorial's over. These are relatively quick ones. These are little tricks and tips you can use when lighting a scene, how to make it cool looking, how to make it come out more alive, more not realistic, but I don't know how to really phrase it, but let me see here. If there's any other aspects of lighting that I haven't gone over just yet, I know I haven't done too many of these videos yet, but if there's any subjects within lighting that you want me to go over, definitely comment down below. Let me know what those subjects are. If I know them, I'll be able to do a tutorial. If I don't know them, I'll research it first, get an understanding of it, and then make a tutorial. But definitely, be active with me. Let me know what's going on, what you want me to work on, what you want, to learn, and overall everything like that. Okay, so there's our scene again. I still prefer that. This is too dark. So let's do 0.1 again. Yeah, this is the overall kind of look I want. But we got the basic understanding. Light functions, how they work. Like I said, they're just materials being projected out, radius of the point light. Same thing will go with spotlights, and down there, directional lights, everything like that. But point lights are usually the best ones to use. But overall, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned a lot. Like I said, comment down below with more suggestions, more subjects you want me to cover. If you like the video, go ahead and hit like, and if you haven't subscribed already, do that as well. Share the video with other people who you think will find use in this kind of information. So I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.